I want to welcome everybody to this presentation by Random Walk Trading. My name is Alex Mendoza, and you've seen, I guess a lot of you have read the bio, made a few changes to it. The thing is, yeah, I was a floor trader for 5 years, and not only was I a floor trader, but the firm for which I worked was very big on making sure that we, at the end of the trading day, we came in and we taught those who were going to become market makers for our firm. So the success of the firm rested, the education portion of the success of the firm rested on our ability to convey these topics to people. So we were trained in a formal environment, and at the same time, we were trained on how to deliver that formal training to the upcoming professional traders. So not only do I have experience as a professional floor trader, I have experience in educating other traders, other professionals, which I think is a lost art and something that's missing from the industry. So today's topic is going to be on something that some of you may have heard of, some of you may not have heard of. It's called reverse gamma scalping. Reverse gamma scalping is a mouthful. So let's go ahead and start with what exactly does it mean? What exactly does reverse gamma scalping mean? The key word in all of this is gamma, which is one of the option Greeks, and gamma is basically defined as the change in delta based on the change in the stock. Okay, the delta is defined as the change in the option value based on the change in the stock. The gamma is, for those of you that are more math-oriented, that's second derivative. It's the change in the delta over the change in the stock. So as the stock moves, the position delta, whatever your trade is, your position delta is probably going to change, and it's going to change if you have options. So the gamma helps measure that. Now, the next word in there is scalping, and scalping refers to the notion, if you go to the New York Stock Exchange, or if you go and you look at what the New York Stock Exchange specialists do, the stock specialists, what they do is they buy stock and they sell stock, and they put up a bid price and an ask price. And what they try to do all day really is, as long as the market is in balance, what they try to do is they try to buy on the bid and sell on the ask. And since the bid is a little bit lower than the ask, if you do that a lot, you make quite a bit of money. And all you're trying to do is make a market for everybody, and you try to buy on the bid and sell on the ask. That action of buying and selling stock, hopefully for a profit, and repeated buying and selling stock, that's what's referred to as scalping stock. Okay, and that's where the term scalping comes from. When you buy something and you sell it. The notion of your average day trader, what they're trying to do is scalp. Very few day traders are trying to put on long-term positions. You're trying to scalp. You're trying to get a little bit here, a little bit there. The way that you're going to scalp stock is you're going to allow the gamma. Okay, remember, gamma is the change in delta. You're going to allow the gamma to change the delta, and then you're going to trade stock, buy it or sell it according to what ends up happening in your position. So what I have here, if you look at this slide, what I have here is the picture of a straddle. And if you look at the straddle, a straddle is just the purchase of a call, the purchase of a put. If you look at the picture of the straddle, what's going to end up happening is, as the stock goes higher and higher, your call deltas are going to get bigger, your put deltas are going to get smaller, so you're going to have more positive deltas than negative deltas. Those of you that want to review, we have some information for free on our website on the basics of the option Greeks. In case you're interested, but I assume at this point that most of you have a fairly decent command of delta, and so I'm not going to spend too much time explaining it. But what ends up happening is you buy a straddle, and as the stock goes up, your delta gets bigger and bigger, and what this more and more positive. And what this means is that as the stock continues to go up, the rate at which you make money because the stock is going up gets bigger and bigger. So basically, you make money faster and faster. As the stock goes down, what ends up happening is as the stock drops, the delta gets more and more negative, which means, and negative deltas allow you to make money as the stock goes down. So the further the stock goes down, the more and more negative your delta becomes, the more and more money you make. And this is what we call standard gamma. This is a standard long gamma position, and what I'm going to cover now is something called gamma scalping. Why am I covering gamma scalping? So that eventually you can understand what it means to do what's called reverse gamma scalping. So let's go over the concept of gamma scalping first. As your deltas get more and more, suppose the stock goes up. You buy a straddle and the stock goes up. As your deltas get more and more positive, you're going to make more and more money. On the other hand, if you buy a straddle and the stock goes down, as your deltas get more and more negative and the stock goes further and further down, you're also going to make money. That's the easy part of the straddle. The more difficult part comes in when the stock goes up but not enough, okay, or when the stock goes down but not enough. Because what you really want in a straddle is you want the stock to pick a direction. You put on the trade, it's delta neutral, you're non-directional, meaning you don't have a bias, but at the end of the day, you want the stock to pick a direction. You want the stock to go way up, or you want it to go way down. Because if it goes way up, you make money. If it goes way down, you make money. The problem comes when the stock sort of goes up, or sort of goes down. Or how about this? How about if it goes up, and then it comes back down the next day? And then it goes down big, but then it comes back up the next day after that. So what are some of the things you can do in order to keep that from happening? Because remember, when you bought the straddle, you bought a call and you bought a put, which means you've got twice the amount of daily time decay that you would in a standard position. And that being the case, it's going to cost you every single day to hold on to this straddle. So if the stock doesn't move big and doesn't sustain a big move in one direction or another, you're probably going to end up losing money. Or you're going to give up some of your profits through time decay. And it's a really frustrating thing to have happen. For those of you that have traded straddles, it's really frustrating to see that happen. So the last thing you want to do in a straddle, have happen in a straddle, is the stock goes up, you make some money, and then the stock kind of sits around or retraces a little bit, and you give some of that money back. And you feel kind of helpless because it's not what you set out to have happen. So gamma scalping refers to the ability, now that, for example, suppose the stock goes up. If the stock goes up, you have positive delta. And what you can do is you can now sell stock to get those deltas back to zero, to neutralize the deltas again in case the stock comes back down. That's what you're trying to do. On the other hand, if the stock goes down, you're going to have some negative deltas. So what do? You buy stock so that your delta gets back to zero. So the notion of gamma scalping is when the stock moves, you buy or sell stock in order to get yourself back to a delta neutral position. That is the notion of standard gamma scalping.